And you know, we have to talk about how that attack was able to do so much damage, because it looked kind of like a normal game. But here's what happened on ForGG's front. At a time when a lot of people would still be utilizing that one reactor factory, cut all production from both factory and the starport, threw down 4 factories of his own. And then he got no Vikings, he got no air, he got no extra medevacs beyond the early ones that he got for harassment. No turrets, no other defenses whatsoever. He was pouring everything, all focus into that very attack. You look at MVP, MVP's beginning to think about getting Vikings, adding on more medevacs, trying to transition back, maybe getting some additional upgrades, positioning more turrets. None of that stuff from ForGG. So he had a lot more units just for that brief period of time, and that's all he needed.
All right, so it looks like we're getting ready for map number 2. Both players are in, and immediately say, good game, yo. Issues, respect, good game, and get ready for the next one. As we're about to jump into Newkirk, as ForGG takes the first map away from MVP. And I know that guy, that coach, I think it was, or not the main coach, but one of the coaches for MVP that walked in. Do you know what he said? He said, drop the Hellbats on him. In that manner of speech.
He has a very peculiar punctuation on his syllables, that coach.
Yes, that's exactly how he said it. Exactly. I read his lips.
At the same time, though, with said lip reading that you so successfully deduced exactly what he said, this is the map where so many attack timings overlap. That's exactly what we saw with MVP Ryung. Can you attack and defend at the same time? ForGG can definitely do the attacks better than probably anyone, but MVP can do that defense.
Okie doke, into the second game we are. Down here in the bottom left is the red Terran, is Park Ji-soo, also known as ForGG.
And down in the bottom right-hand corner from Germany, it is LGIM's MVP, the 4-time GSL champion, the WCS EU Season 1 champion, down 1 match. that look for the camera, like, oh, come on. Just back to the game. That was awesome.
Jürgen down here. I hope I got that right for all my German friends. Austrian or German friends. Jürgen. Bit of a R on that. That's how we call MVP if we're from Europe, because he's our champion.
Yes.
He's ours. We call him what we want to.
I know you, as a patriotic German player yourself, are rooting for MVP.
He's from Europe. That's all we need to think about.
Oh my God, MVP going for this proxy barracks. Now where is the gas? Normally you want to go 12 barracks, 12 gas. Where is it? Is he actually going to go 2 racks? No, there's the gas guys are going down. Kind of an odd.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this was a Marauder over a Reaper here because of the later gas.
And ForGG is going to go for that delayed gas geyser. 2 basic deviations right now. The first one is command center and add-on reactor on that barracks. The second one is command center and factory. Those are the only 2.
All right, well, let's have a look what MVP does now with this barracks. Just keep in consideration that MVP, when it comes to best of 5 or best of 7s, is one of the best in the world.
Oh, there it is.
One of the best in the world at playing a longer drawn-out series. Losing 1 game, ain't no thing for MVP. Ain't no thing.
Of course, indeed, ain't no thing. The words running through his head, the words his coach provided before the entry into game number 2. This is an awkward position. He's going to be building Marauders, has to be very careful with his gas distribution. He can go ahead and get Concussive Shell right away, would be the smart choice to do, but then needs to pull some units out of gas and begin follow-up.
There's no scout from ForGG. He doesn't know to not add on the reactor. He doesn't know to throw down a bunker. He's not scouted. He's got no idea. This is actually going to be a little bit difficult to deal with only 2 Marines. He's holding the Marauders back. He's seeing the reactor coming on.
Now this is an important question for MVP. Does he go second gas and ramp up the pressure, or does he just go expand? ForGG's already thrown down his command center. MVP is the player we would expect not to do this sort of thing, but this is what makes MVP such a great player. Sure, we call him solid time and time again, but he is the guy who brings a bigger variety of build orders to the tournament than anyone else. What a great play from MVP. First, he's going to set up this bunker. This will guarantee a contain with concussive shell done. He doesn't have to worry about Hellion run-bys. He can easily block those off, and this has taken ForGG completely by surprise.
And all he needs to do is pick off SCVs while expanding himself. Got to be careful of a surround, though. That's what the bunker's for.
ForGG known for aggressive micro like this. There's the extra Marines popping out. Will he be able to prevent anything from getting into the bunker? This is exactly what MVP wants. He wants these Marines off into the field, into the high ground. ForGG almost finished with that factory. I think ForGG is going to be able to stabilize, but not before sustaining some pretty significant losses here.
Nice micro here by MVP. The Marauder production continues up to 4. He's not going to let go of these SCVs. He's going to keep on putting the pressure on.
Oh God, MVP went for an expansion. I don't know if I like this play, Apollo. I feel like you almost have to follow up factory starport. Now, ForGG can swiftly get the armory, the starport, and MVP won't really even have that much defense down.
Looking at the two options MVP has to choose from, expand, kill a lot of SCVs, and expand yourself means you actually get the economic lead eventually if you keep on killing SCVs. But as you said, if you don't do that, then what if somebody does something like we're seeing here, a mine drop? What happens if a starport comes down and drops mine back and you got nothing to stop it?
Well, right now MVP has already put his hand face up. He is going straight for factory.
Look at that barracks, using that for some range.
Oh, MVP with an uncharacteristic whiff. A nice scoot up. Ooh.
Almost. Not quite. Not quite. The supply depot does survive. I still think that ForGG should have got a starport a little bit sooner. He's only just now added it on. Because if he's dropping mines over there, there is nothing to stop it. And now an engineering base coming down, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got a turret in his main mineral line. In case a Banshee's coming from behind this, which he doesn't exactly know what's going on for ForGG. And of course, a Winter Mine drops too. MVP is setting himself up to get the best of both worlds now. Oh, that's actually going to be paying if that catches on fire. Oh dear.
Now,
he's going to have to rebuild that.
Oh my God, ForGG is getting ready to do a really key timing push. He is going to go Viking. He is going to add on 2 tanks. He is going to set that Widow Mine back into his main base, and then he is going to go, go, go. This is a fantastic timing of siege tank, something that we don't really see constructed this early in this game. Medevac popping up right now as well. He's going to be able to get some high ground vision. Look at this, MVP is preparing for the Hellbat drops, preparing for the Banshee, all these sorts of things, but it's an attack at the front that MVP is going to be up against. ForGG identifies that the bunker is empty.
Yeah, I mean, the Medivac can give a lot of versatility to what ForGG wants to do. You can pick up the Marines and put them in the main base, can boost out, put them on the low ground with a tank or so. So he's got a lot of options here to choose from. And MVP knows that could happen, which is why he's got a Viking for the Medivac, Hellions for Marines, and Marauders just left over from what he was messing around with initially.
Oh, looks like ForGG is actually not going to be going for this sort of push. Looks like he's just going to get the single tank and then chill. Single tank's unbelievable versus those annoying Hellbat drops. Ordinarily, you don't really want to be getting too many tanks against Hellbats just due to the fact that you're sacrificing all your mobility early on, but ForGG's definitely starting to get...
Oh, is that a tank and a Marine? It is. I mean, tank and a mine, sorry. It's quite an expensive load there.
Oh my God, he loads the tank down there. Are we seeing this?
Oh!
This is crazy. What is the tank doing in the main base? A peculiar move by ForGG, just seems to throw a tank away.
And MVP actually got 4 SCV kills there. It may not be displayed on the screen you guys are watching, but it's definitely on the Korean one behind me. So there was 4 SCVs killed there by MVP. Behind this, ForGG getting a Raven up to start his mech in a 3rd command center. So at this point, you know, MVP not in the worst position, has an armory down, and what we're going to see from him is the coach's words come to play. Drop the Hellbats. Drop them, drop them. So that's what's going to happen here. MVP's got his armory on down, he's got his Hellbats on his way, and a Medivac 2.
Some sort of odd connections to the pieces of ForGG's play. Great, going for the Marines, the mines, the tank, all these things defend you early on. And it looks like ForGG then said, but I'm a guy who wants to go for Hellbat drops, and then is now going down that direction. Completely ignoring the fact that he built, what, 12, 15 Marines at the start of the game, built a tank, built a mine. Make use of those, adjust the strategy. There's plenty of transitions that go into that a little more smoothly, especially pressuring at the front. Now we see a big pack of Hellions from ForGG that haven't really been able to do very much.
Ooh, MVP going around the barracks, which he saw with the 2 Vikings. The Marines coming to the back here. Uh-oh. Where's he going to boost? These Marines could actually pick this off. Luckily for ForGG, it may happen. Oh, MVP pulls back just in the nick of time. That was a close one.
Those Hellions are awaiting those Hellbats to drop at any moment, ready to pick them off. Speed boost is elapsed. ForGG is just playing, or excuse me, MVP is just playing a nice, smooth follow-up. I was really worried for MVP when you went straight for that expansion command center, because that's one of the easiest ways to backfire a fast Marauder play. Because you can almost always get 4 to 6 SCV kills, but you're not really guaranteed that much beyond that. And MVP correctly maneuvering his way past. Kind of luckily, having ForGG drop a tank as his mineral line.
Look at this, double reactors on these. I think that's going to be a reactor too. Okay, another tech lab. But look at that, he's producing 4 Hellions at a time at this point with Blue Flame. Okay, there's another reactor. So that's 2 reactors and 3 tech labs for ForGG. That's a lot of Hellions. He's going to focus on pure Hellions in this game, switching up his composition from Hellbats previous to Hellions here. And he will be looking to be aggressive with this.
Makes a lot of sense to do on this map. I mean, you're so used to seeing Hellbat mech style play. And this map is generally quite closed off, but ForGG is about to be up against a Hellbat drop. He needs to have the fast answer, and these Hellbats are exactly that.
Pick up here and save his Hellbats. Saves one in red health. Meanwhile, I think on the other side of the map. Oh no, hold the thought.
Oh, that second shot dealing massive damage. Oh, ForGG, what is going on? Losing quite a bit.
Lost quite a few here, but I think that, 20 SCVs. 20 from MVP. He listened to his coach. What a smart man he is. He's going to go in again this one. Oh, okay, that's not going to do anything this time. But oh, look, the push. A lot of Hellions, but there's a Thor in the mix. The Thor's going to be such a pain to deal with.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, again, that transformation service, the upgrade we so regularly do not see. ForGG could absolutely invest in to help transition against
I don't think this is going to work for ForGG.
This is going to be a really difficult push to do. He's committing a lot to this. He was honestly anticipating that he would have the big lead in air. That's one of the reasons why he got the Raven early, to be able to throw down that very, very quick point defense strong. Now he's moving in. Oh my god, is he going to go for it? Tanks brilliantly positioned on the high ground. ForGG sustaining gigantic losses. What was that attack? And a single simple Hellbat drop from MVP. Attack timings overlap a lot on this map, and MVP getting far the better.
MVP has to send his Hellbats in. Can't really lose that position. Despite his drop getting into the mineral line, and ForGG able to mine through a couple of bases, the Hellbats get to the front, the tanks get in position too. Goodbye, ForGG's army, because MVP is here to stay. He regains his third base control.
MVP not doing huge counterattacks. Instead, he's just doing these tiny, simple Hellbat drops when all of ForGG's units are out of position.
MVP just crawling back into this game, and the Hellbat continues to drop with 5 kills now. 31, 35 SCVs. This is the MVP that we saw versus Ryung yesterday. Played very defensive, very cautious in game 1, and got beaten down by ForGG. But in map number 2, he is fighting back with everything that he's got. Remember, this guy has gone toe-to-toe in long, drawn-out series many a time before. He knows what it takes to go the distance against a solid player.
I mean, it's so easy in this position. As ForGG, you've won a game with an overwhelming series of really well-timed, well-done attacks. And then suddenly you hit a brick wall. That is what the defensive MVP feels like. MVP going to position, set himself up a counter swing, nice spread of his units there, getting a good sense of the vision.
Yeah, he's coming to take this third base away from ForGG. He's got 11 tanks to 5 to 6, and he's got 10 Hellbats. There is nothing that ForGG can do here if the rest of the army comes in.
It's going to go really ugly. The Thor at the front absorbing unbelievable amounts of damage.
GG.
It's Hellions versus tanks. GG! MVP ties the series up.
This ain't no walkover. Ain't no walkover.
We just saw a 3-0 in the second quarterfinal match. 1-1 tied up. Quarterfinal 3.
And Jung Hyun takes map number 2 as we get ready for map number 3 here. This is going to be an exciting Terran versus Terran series. I knew it as we got on stage, but this is going to be a good one. And oh boy, will it be.
And you know, I think that that is a good example of the ForGG that we saw just botch so many of his Wings of Liberty games. I mean, ForGG's aggression is so amazing when he does it well.
Yeah.
But, you know, for every 10 attacks that we see in these tournaments that went great, there were hundreds of annoying, frustrating losses that he had to go through to readjust and relearn the correct approach. And every now and again, you'll see one of those sneak up in the tournaments. And honestly, I think that ForGG playing a little more reserved looks better than a ForGG playing balls to the wall aggression.
That's right. So I think then we're going to a commercial break and then we'll come back. Game number 3 will continue. Don't go anywhere, guys.
and gentlemen, welcome back. It's WCS 2013 Season 1 Grand Final. Right now, MVP and ForGG are tied up 1-1, and it's so thrilling to see that in each of the games those players won, it was using the exact style that defines them. MVP with his amazing defense, and ForGG with his amazing offense.
Yeah, that's precisely how it went down. But what happens in game number 3 if they both do the same to get their wins? What happens? Is it a draw?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. That's like one of those like Confucian riddles, you know, or one of those crazy things about like, you know, if you drop a bead of water down the same mountain, which one hits the bottom first? It's like I have no idea.
I don't know.
And
All right, what map is it though?
It's Daybreak.
Daybreak.
This is kind of a weird map, given that a lot of the developments that we've been seeing with things like Hellbat drops, things like the mech play, have been on some of the newer maps where it's easier to get fourth bases.
Yeah.
Things are a lot tighter. There's a lot fewer attack paths. But Daybreak, one of the most heavily researched maps in the map pool, very, very strong for bioplay. Hellbat drops, great always, no matter what. Those things are awesome. But I do think that this is a map where the Hellbat drops do have some weakness. There's really only 2 angles, no matter how many bases you pick up at the start of the game, that you need to cover.
Yeah, I mean, you have one in the main base, and then usually one at the third base as the game goes on.
Yeah, or second base if it's early, or the fourth base if it's late.
Yeah, so there's only, I mean, at one point throughout the game, there's only 2. So if you have 2 bases, there's 2 spots. You have 3 bases, still 2 spots because it's on the third base now. And it's relatively easy to defend. A couple of turrets, a couple of Vikings. We'll see if MVP's defense can hold up.
Yeah, I miss seeing a lot of bio play. I mean, I know that the Hellbat drops are so good and Hellbats themselves are very strong, but at the same time, you think about traditional mech. You think about historical mech.
Yes.
The Wings of Liberty mech that was a lot of Hellbats and siege tanks. There's going to be Hellions and siege tanks. And now that there's Hellbat and siege tank, Marauders can kite very, very long and take almost no damage. But the instant they try to engage, that's when it becomes the nightmare.
All right, it's time, Day 9. It's time to get into map number 3 between ForGG and MVP. There he is.
There's Park Ji-soo
Park Ji-soo.
eagerly awaiting.
Before this series, well, during this series, I suppose, 94% in best of 5, best of 7s, Terran versus Terran. Not bad, not bad.
I mean, if he loses this series, he will drop to an embarrassing 87. It's actually still incredible.
Is that right? You that good at math? I'm gonna say yes, you are.
Yeah.
You are so good.
Hello,
Whoa.
gentlemen.
Hello. Season 1 Grand Finals. The third quarterfinal begins right here. At number 3.
Down in the bottom left-hand corner. From Team Millennium is ID ForGG. His name is Park Ji-soo.
That's right, handsome devil. Living in France, plays for Millennium.
Can't believe that he grows hair there. Did you see that expression on his face? He was blown away.
He was blown away. His opponent, though, up here, just look at those 4 badges and you know who he is.
Someone who deserves your respect.
Deserves respect. This is, of course, Jung Yong Hyun. I messed that one up.
Wow.
Jung Yong Hyun. Jung.
It's LGIM MVP up in the top right-hand corner.
That's right. Sometimes my Korean's really good. I'm able to translate it. Sometimes I struggle with a simple name.
I mean,
It's really hit or miss sometimes.
I mean, people don't talk enough about the variance you experience when speaking a language. I mean, on some days, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Other days, you know, it's just an off day.
Or a couple of hours ago, I was able to translate an interview. A couple of hours now, I mess up.
You know,
Right.
I'm wondering whether ForGG will revert back to this more defensive. Wow, no, he's actually getting quite a swift gas, but MVP blowing past everyone, going gas first, then barracks. You know, a lot of times there's different approaches to a map. You make the simple statement, Daybreak, easy to defend, long distances. How do you exploit that? Well, a lot of people will go down the extreme macro mode, but MVP is going to say, oh, is it harder to attack? Well, then I better get those attacks started earlier. I honestly think that he might be going for the hyper-fast Hellbat drop. Hey, if distances are long, I don't even need that much defense early. I can cut all the corners, accelerate this puppy to full speed. get those Hellbats up.
Get the ball rolling. Nice and early here.
I mean, you could probably get the Hellbat drops as early as, what, 7:30, 8, do you think?
I don't know exactly. Not with gas first. I mean, there's Hellbat drops that can come from it, but there's also Banshee play too, which is a little bit more uncharacteristic to deal with. And ForGG may not be expecting something like this, but that's one of the strengths of ForGG. Not 4G, sorry, MVP. He's able to play any style at any point in a best of whatever series. I think that's what makes him one of the strongest players in a best of 5, best of 7, is that he's able to do these kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the fact that MVP always plays very conservatively in terms of its decision making. Any spot where he could maybe rush in there and kill off 5 or 6 workers, he instead elects to stay back and make sure he doesn't lose those attacking units. And I think that thus far MVP has yet to do the same build twice in a series.
I agree. I mean, I agree that he doesn't do it, and I also know that he hasn't done it either.
I mean, I actually think that even if you compare MVP to his past games versus Real,
yes,
he hasn't done any of the same builds twice in a row. I mean, but it's amazing that with each of these builds MVP uses, he will be choosing the most conservative, strong, stable, long, well thought out structure, but my God, he is just getting such a big variety. So it looks like ForGG is instead going to be the Banshee Inc. player's second gas down.
Yeah, he took a second gas immediately, and that kind of shows us that he wasn't going to expand with this, because it was, you know, a gas taken at a time he could have expanded, but with a second gas, he dedicates his resources elsewhere rather than getting that command center down. Meanwhile, MVP at double gases started Widow Mine production, and I think he's going to throw down the armory very shortly as he approaches that gas count. He has added on a tech lab though, and if he switches that over to a starport, then may not.
This is going to be such a disaster for ForGG. I mean, oh, he's going for Cloak first. Keep in mind, Widow Mines rip Banshees apart. You get a Widow Mine in a good spot, bam, goes off, and then you just get an extra Viking hit, and then it is one dead Banshee. Oh my God, MVP's actually just going single mine. This is his other one in the middle. There it is, yeah.
Yeah, so double mine for Marines. There is nothing apart from a Banshee and a Marine in the middle of the map, or maybe a couple back at home too. Not much, let's just say.
Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. It's going to be floating right on in. Can he get every... Oh, there's a lot of Marines at the back. There's a lot of Marines at the back. MVP's beginning to make his way.